Since my childhood, I had always found communication with people troublesome. I was an introverted person who loved to immerse myself in books. Well, also in terms of my appearance, I don't think I was someone who paid much attention to it, which probably made me unapproachable not just to the opposite sex, but to my own as well. I have a twin brother who is the exact opposite of me. His name is John. John was a popular guy, not just among girls, but also boys. He was handsome, excelled in sports, and had a bright personality. Interestingly, despite our contrasting personalities, we didn't have any friction. On the contrary, we got along very well. One day, suddenly, our parents passed away in a traffic accident. After our parents' death, our grandparents looked after us until we graduated from high school. But after graduation, we started to walk our separate paths. Even though we embarked on different paths, we respected each other's lives. That's why, even when we chose different paths, we were there to support each other's choices. After that, I didn't really get a job, but continued to live my life, doing part-time work in a cafe and pursuing my hobbies. As for John's whereabouts, I would get a vague idea from the messages he sent me at the turn of the seasons. John, who joined a top-tier company, seemed to be on a fast track to success. As his older brother, I am proud of him. One day, on the 10th year since I started living independently, I got a message from him saying he wanted to see me after a long time. Hey, long time no see. Big bro, you still don't care about your appearance, huh? John, upon reuniting, showed me the same affable smile as in the past, even nostalgically commenting on my attire. So, what are you up to these days, big bro? I'm still doing what I love for a living. Oh, and I've been working part-time at a cafe for about 5 years now. I've always admired your consistency, big bro, but doing what you love for work? You said you wanted to see me after a long time. Is there something you want to talk about? Don't tell me it's about money. Haha, no, it's not about that. I'm thinking about getting married soon. Jean getting married. While surprised, I was also filled with joy at this wonderful news. But there was one problem. Jean came to ask me, his only living relative, to attend a meeting between the two families. However, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not confident in my appearance, and I'm poor at communication, so I declined, fearing that I would be a burden to Jean. I think I'll pass on the family meeting. I'm very happy about your wedding, and I'll bless you from the bottom of my heart. I see. Well, I thought you might say something like that. But at least come to the ceremony. It's the highlight of my life. My dear brother, predicting my response, he cut off my escape route with his request to attend a wedding ceremony. Even if it was John's wedding, the thought of me attending such a glamorous event. With mixed feelings, I reluctantly decided to attend, having already promised to do so. And then came the day. I, who did not have a white tie and only had a suit that I couldn't remember when I had bought, decided to go to the wedding ceremony without a tie. The wedding venue was a luxurious hotel, and I probably stood out because of my outfit. As expected, I could feel the occasional glances thrown my way. Just as the thought of, maybe I should go home, crossed my mind, I was spotted by John, who had just stepped out to greet the guest. Seeing me, John approached with his usual smile. "Hey, big bro, thank you. I appreciate you coming despite being busy." When I told the cafe manager it was my little brother's wedding, they changed my shift. My escape route was completely cut off. Anyway, I'm glad. Right now, Emma. My wife is getting ready in her bridal dress. Oh, there's Emma now. Hey, over here. Saying so, John called over Emma and introduced her to me. At the moment, the young woman who had been looking at me suspiciously earlier started speaking loud enough for me to hear. Wait, he's the brother? I wonder if they've prepared a seat for him. And he's working part-time at a cafe at that age. Isn't he embarrassed? He doesn't fit in here at all. Naturally, their words were directed at me, and they were audible to the people around us. Well, I didn't really want to attend the wedding in the first place, and I was actually planning to just give my gift and leave. As I thought, I don't really fit in here, Guess I'll head home. Big bro! As I tried to leave the venue and head for the door, an elderly man approached. Oh, father-in-law. The man John called out to was someone I also knew. Well, Professor James, thank you as always for everything. I should be the one thanking you, Editor-in-Chief Oliver. The father of the bride was bowing to me, who was out of place with my appearance, and the surroundings started to stir. Apparently, it was now my turn to look troubled. I never thought that the man who would become my brother's father-in-law would be the editor-in-chief of the publishing company I've always been indebted to. What? I knew my big bro was a writer, but you two know each other? I'm super surprised. Yes, I was a writer as a hobby. A profession commonly referred to as a novelist. And I was working part-time at a cafe, not to earn a living but to observe people. Incidentally, the cafe job, which didn't require much communication skills, was ideal for me. I was originally an introvert and avoided contact with people, so I immersed myself in writing without being distracted. And before I knew it, I was observing people for my writing. Even though I wasn't good at socializing, there were often stories hidden in everyday life. And Mr. Oliver, who was still a desk editor at the time, was the one who saw the manuscript I brought to the publishing company. Thanks to his support, I was able to publish my first work. Where are you going, Professor? The guest over there told me it's okay to go home, so I was about to leave. The female guest who had been mocking me earlier, upon hearing this conversation, seemed to sit up a little more regretfully. Just when I was about to turn on my heels to leave. Wait, could it be Professor James? Is your big brother Professor James? Emma, lifting up her wedding dress, came running over with heavy breathing. I'm a big fan of yours, Professor. I've read all of your works. Especially I Love Brotherhood, which was recommended by my father. I fell in love with the protagonist. The Brotherhood she mentioned is my representative work, and to tell you the truth, the motive for the main character was my younger brother, John. She appeared to have a keen eye. I thanked her for respecting me and reading my works, and also wished them well for their marriage. She, who received my blessing honestly, apologized for what happened earlier. I'm really sorry for the rudeness of my acquaintances earlier. Is that a bit too harsh to say? The woman grumbled for a while, but as they sensed the unfavorable atmosphere, their voices gradually weakened. Emma, the bride, glanced at them and bowed to me again. No, it's okay. I understand what you mean, so please raise your head. I truly meant it. I was aware that I had created a negative atmosphere on the precious day of their wedding because of my appearance. Nevertheless, I wanted to convey one more thing, so I turned back to Emma. John and I have only had each other since our parents passed away. John, with his handsome looks and excellent abilities, has a talent for getting along with anyone. In comparison, I'm not only less competent, but also less appealing. Moreover, I'm eccentric and tend to avoid interacting with people. But there's one thing I've always thought since I was born. I don't want to be a hindrance to my little brother. I respect John's life, and as his older brother, I should not be a burden. I believe that John has enough talent to spread his wings to the world. And I wish for his happiness more than anyone else. Even if I'm such a brother, please continue to get along with him. Then John hugged me while crying. I don't know what my brother was feeling, but I've always admired him because he's always been unswerving in his way of life. I try to live my life without shame by learning from him. I am what I am today because of my brother. I'm really glad you came today. I, who was hugging the crying John, couldn't help but recall a certain incident from my childhood. It was a time when our parents were still healthy. John, who was playing with the expensive wristwatch that our father cherished, had fallen and badly scratched it. My brother, who came home crying, was unusually flustered. At that time, I was the only one at home. What should I do, brother? It's what Dad treasures. Oh no! John, who was holding the scratched wristwatch, came crying to me. I'll apologize with you. Let's get scolded together. Looking back now, our father probably knew that I hadn't been playing in the park. But he scolded my brother and me equally. You can always talk to me if something happens. I'm always your brother. I remember that while saying so, I was patting my brother's head. I was a bit embarrassed, but I patted my brother's head after a long time. Yeah, be happy. Then I left the venue after bowing to the relatives of the bride, including Chief Editor Oliver. I left the venue quickly, so I didn't know, but it seems that women from Emma's company were teasing me. Those women happened to be present when the marriage was reported, and it seems they had to be invited. Of course, Emma has cut ties with those women since that day. 6 years have passed since that incident. And I, who have found new horizons for myself since that wedding, have been devoted to writing. Meanwhile, a child was born in John's family, and they seem to be living lively. Listening to stories of John's children, who are my nephews and nieces, makes me realize that I've become quite an uncle. And today I'm going to visit John's house. Emma had told me that she wanted me to come and visit. But I never actively wanted to see people. If we don't contact him, he never comes to see us, John complained. This time I have a gift, so I reluctantly got up. The gift, it's a bit embarrassing, but my work is being made into a movie, and just the other day a sample video arrived at my place. That's the gift for this time. The theme of the work, which turned out to be a human comedy drama, is the process of imagining the future happiness of my brothers. I'm kind of looking forward to watching it together with John's family.